official podcast for ProjectFandom.com. I'm your host, Nina.
I'm Donald.
And I'm John.
And we are back to discuss Paper Girls. And this week we're going to be talking about episodes 4 and 5. It was never about the porn and a new period.
You said, wait.
What?
Maybe I have the wrong mind. Because I thought you said it was never about the porn.
Oh!
I thought she said that too. She did say that?
No.
That's what you said.
No, it didn't. Oh my god, I'm setting that thing off. Can you turn it off? I did not say that.
I mean, I assumed that I just heard it wrong.
Yes, you absolutely heard it wrong. Did I say no?
I swear to God, it sounded like porn.
Now I'm gonna have to go.
And I was like, "Shit, was it?" And I was like, trying to think of the episode. I was like, "What did it have to do with porn?"
Jesus Christ. Anyway, I just want to say I don't know what the fuck is going on in the show because this is, like I said last week, I still feel the same way.
This is beyond what you wrote.
Yeah, like I don't even think. Yeah, I mean, it's so weird though because this is so early in the story. Like, this is not what happened. So if this is beyond what I read, it's just an interesting order in the way they're telling us, if that makes sense. Or this is just completely different from the... I need to read them this weekend. I think that's what I'll do.
Or
Not finish it, but I'll just read, at least a few to just, because I swear, and of course I can't say anything to you guys because I don't know if this is stuff that'll happen later or what.
I think it could be still that they're planning this just to be one season. And so they're just going really fast through it.
But what I mean is
some things haven't happened that should have happened already.
This is it's just different. It's just different.
Got it.
It's different. So I can't even say why it's different. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if it's different because this is material I haven't gotten to yet. But or if this is just that does not ever happen in the graphic novels. I will say that there's a couple of things like what Missy does for a living that when it was said, I was like, oh, that's right. And I feel like I remember those mech, Pacific Rim things. And of course the meeting of the adult Aaron and this Aaron, but there's other stuff. The stuff that I know for a fact has happened by now, that because the story is going off in such a different direction, I don't even want to say because it's possible that it will still happen, but for that, there's no way this is one season. I mean, there's just some pretty major things that happen, and I can't see them doing all of that in 3 more episodes, right? 3 more? Yeah, 3 episodes. So, but anyway, my whole point was, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I like it. So, John, what did you think of these episodes?
I'm really enjoying it still. Mm-hmm. I really the tone of the show is really weird, in a good way.
Yeah.
It's
kind of quirky.
It's still I'm still getting vibes of and this is that thing where it's the guy who has only ever seen one movie. And then he's watches his second movie and he's I'm picking up real big vibes from that first movie. So for me, I watch this and I'm maybe it's there's other shit that I could compare it to. But I keep going back to Life is Strange, right? The video game. It just feels very similar to that. Just the way that they keep they play pop music underneath emotional shit. I don't know. I just just feel, and I like it. I love those games, and so it's just nice to see a TV show. It almost was if they were going to adapt those games into a show or something. It has to be similar to this. Specifically, I'm talking about the motorcycle scene. when Max starts crying.
Yeah.
Like that was fucking and what I mean by that is like they stayed on it. Like they didn't just happen and like they hit a beat and then they left it.
Yeah.
Like you watched her cry for like a solid minute.
Yeah.
Just riding down the road on holding on to KJ's back. You know, so like, and that's something that that's a thing that you don't see a lot in a lot of shows, that like they allowed it to just breathe in that moment and become just further emotional than it already was. So like that's what I like. That's the kind of stuff that I'm enjoying, and the interesting shit that's happening, like with time travel, like that's interesting. I enjoy time travel things, so like that's cool. But also, I just think like the tone and the storytelling that they're doing is like what's really hooking me into the show.
What about you, Donnie?
Yeah, I could see the same thing. Like I had brought up watching these 2 episodes is these girls are finding out things through their future selves, but they're also keeping it to themselves. So each one of them's coming up. They got these now hidden issues and hidden problems, secrets, and they're too young to, like Nina pointed out, they're too young to talk about it and stuff like that.
Because when you said that, I was like, well, they're 12. You know, so I get it. Like, there's parts of me that I wanted them to not do that. Like, tell her what happened. But I get it.
And it gets back into that chat, like I brought up in the first podcast, is that almost children's the psychology, or just their mentality, how they're thinking a 12-year-old, they could do anything, they could be anything. This is what I'm going to be when I grow up, type of thing.
Yeah.
And now they're seeing themselves as not those, and trying to figure out why, where it went wrong. So that's interesting to me. And then you got all this other stuff going on in the background with the time travel, and shit's going all just chaotic on that. Like, you have these characters that you're introduced, and then boom, they're gone, and snap your finger, and you're like, what the fuck do we do now? Like, I don't like, by that last episode, I was like, how do they get out of this? So I'm real curious. Right, it's like, I'm more, and then that draws me, and it's just trying to figure out, like, fuck, they're stuck in 1999. They don't have their time machine.
But again, don't know what the hell is happening, but I do like it. It's interesting to watch because I don't know what to expect, and because I think I mentioned this before, with when a show is unexpectedly funny, and I feel like there are moments in this show that have made me just like bust out laughing, and I like that. But just genuinely not knowing what's going to happen, I'm just enjoying. The acting, these little girls, these young ladies, they are doing a phenomenal job, I think. I just believe everything that's happening with all of them. And nothing, I don't know. It's very well written, and the way they're telling it, like the people that they've gotten to, like, I don't feel like there are any weak links. Like, everything just kind of works, you know? I'm very curious to see, with us having, like, just 3 episodes left, I really hope it's not just this, you know?
I think, so I was just going to say, like, I know we started out watching this show with, like, the heavy comparisons to, like, Stranger Things, right? But, like, as we discussed already, I don't think there were very many actual similarities. But the one thing that I would say that is very similar is the way that the kids are acting. Like, it's very... Like, it's very... I mean, it does harken back to, like, the 80s and, like Stand By Me or something, right?
Yeah,
where it's, like, it feels very... It's not so melodramatic that you might have, like, run into, like, in the 90s when you started seeing, like, you know, teen dramas, like 90210 and stuff like that. Like the stuff here, like, these kids are not, you know, acting up everything. They're very natural,
and they feel
similar to the way that Stranger Things is doing.
Yeah, I mean, they feel like kids. To me, they feel more like kids than the Stranger Kids things kind of felt like kids. But maybe it's just kids, like I kind of relate to them more.
Like just kids, but then also little girls. Like especially with these 2 episodes, like you get
with her getting her period.
Right.
Oh, poor baby. Okay. All right. So it was never about the corn is episode 4. There's a really sweet flashback that opens the episode with Missy and Aaron doing. I don't like the fortune teller game with the folded paper and you put the choices. You guys did this, right?
I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those were fun.
I could never fold it.
Yeah, I always had to have somebody else do it. I never learned how to fold it.
I learned how to fold one I got an origami book from the book fair. And it was one of the things that you could fold in it was that.
Scholastic book fair.
Yeah, like it was a cool book. It came with like pages you could tear out that were like construction paper, and you could just fold them up. Okay. Like one was like a swan, one was the fortune teller thing, and
that's
some other
cool.
shit. Yeah, that was cool.
Missy's gonna have 100 Alf babies, apparently. So back with the girls, the plan is to use adult Aaron to pilot the mech in the silo to travel. Well, first Larry wanted to do 1999 to complete the mission that he was expecting his friends to complete, and almost like it was a little like easy and too good to be true. But when Tiffany is like, no, why can't we just go back to 88, stop that stuff from happening, let them do their own fucking job, you guys go to 99. And I really expected him to be like, no, time travel doesn't work that way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I really thought he was going to say there was like a snag in that plan, but he was like, okay, I guess that's what we're going to do.
But he did fight for a while we need to
right, because
plan.
of the mission.
Right.
Adult Aaron put her foot down.
Yeah, it kind of felt like once we see that they did go to 1999, it kind of felt like he was like, yeah, time travel doesn't work that way, but I'm just going to tell you what you need to hear to make you do
because I was telling Nina, I was like, okay, they're going in, but how do they know where to go? Like, does a robot have like a fucking DeLorean, like time machine clock that you just say, I'm going to change it to this year? But it seemed like it was always set to go to one place.
So you are both of the mind that this was on purpose. Like he was lying to them, and he knew they would end up in 1999.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, it felt that way. Yeah, the way that he was acting when they came out is what really convinced me that he knew what he was doing. I mean, I don't know.
What was he surprised about, and why did he apologize? If I thought
he apologized, I thought, what's the thing that popped up in the sky? He apologized at that moment, didn't he?
Right. I thought, okay, I have to rewatch it. We watched this early this morning.
It makes me wonder if they landed in the wrong spot or something.
Right, because that's the thing. Do you remember? I'm so glad you said that. When we watched it this morning, there was something about the way he was acting when they landed that I said, is it like the wrong spot?
Because they all mentioned the fact, oh my god, we landed in the factory. Like it wasn't planned to land in the factory.
I don't know. It was just, I don't know. I'd have to watch it again. But you guys are both of the mind that he knew that they were going to end up in 99. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it felt that way to me, yeah.
So Mac is with her brother Dylan, and
they're shooting fireworks.
All I just have in my notes, you a grown ass man.
With a strange girl.
Right, child. With fireworks.
Like,
and this is in the middle of a school day.
You're not going to be like, oh, it's my sister. Yeah, sure, pal.
Right. In the middle of a school day. Like, what are you
like they just went right back to their like trashy roots. Like, oh yeah, this is how we grew up.
Did you say trashy roots?
Yes. Who the fuck out there shooting fireworks at each other? Like, come on.
I have no idea. Okay, I don't know. I guess.
And it felt like, I mean, I was like, she's gonna fuck up his life. His whole life. If she stays here, he's fucked. Like he's gonna lose his wife. He's gonna lose his kids.
I still think he might have lost his wife, but that should be.
But I thought that by the end of it, he showed that wouldn't happen. No.
Yeah. I thought that in the restaurant scene, I was like,
good.
oh, this is really great. And then
because
obviously it didn't happen.
Exactly. Like they wanted you to be like, oh shit, this is gonna work out. Like if she were allowed to stay, but like you always knew she wasn't gonna stay. Right. So yeah.
And now like he doesn't remember any of that. Right.
Oh yeah.
They do
they did the reset.
No, wait. Yep. Did they do
Once
that?
Once she left, like I would imagine that they have to, because the way that, what's her name? The woman who's chasing them?
Prius, I think?
Yeah, the Prioress, yeah.
Prioress, yeah.
Like the way she was acting, like she was like Terminator and up in there. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, the way she's acting, they're like gonna wipe people's minds after this so that they forget all this shit that happened.
I mean,
that's what it felt like.
Yeah, it makes sense because grandfather shows up, so.
Okay.
So then, like, once she's out of that restaurant, I felt like they're going to just wipe his memory and he's not going to have any memory of her showing up.
Okay, so she wasn't harming people, right? Like, she didn't kill... Because remember later when we go to KJ's house, I asked Donnie what happened to... In what year was it that Priors went to KJ's house with the hockey stick? And
that was 2019.
Yeah, it was the same year.
Okay. So, whatever she did to them, she didn't wipe their memories.
Well, the way I'm understanding this is I'm not certain if she's killing people or not. But what I would understand it is if she did kill someone, she would then wipe everyone in their life, like their memory of that person.
Okay, yeah, I don't think it's that because it
doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I don't think it's that.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no. I was gonna say the reason I don't think it's that is because of the way they are dealing with what happens when you time travel. If that makes sense, like they don't seem to want to. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm just trying to think,
though,
like if what we've seen, because
maybe she just beat them up and then they wiped the memory, and now they're like, "What the fuck happened to us?"
The only people we've seen her kill are the two guys.
Future guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I wonder, like, because in that scene between her and whatever his name was, her boss or whatever, like. He's like, oh, we don't do it that way. That's not how we do it. And so I feel like, what if she's like going against the book or whatever, and so like she is killing people when she's not supposed to be.
I feel like he would know though. I think that now that I think about it, because their whole purpose is not to change the timeline. They want everything to happen as is.
But I mean, they killed Larry.
But Larry was against them.
But
they didn't kill him until he went out of time. So they can. It feels like they can only kill people, or because obviously they can track people that go out of time. But then those people that go out of time are already starting to screw up the timeline.
My head hurts.
They're only supposed to kill people, like to punish them for going out of time. But that's what I mean. It's like the Prioress seems like she's not following the rules.
Right.
So like I don't know if she's killing people because they haven't really confirmed it. Mm-hmm. Like KJ's parents or Dylan's wife, but like. I wouldn't be surprised if she is killing people and she's not supposed to be.
So I do like that her brother is also someone who's like, you can't say shit like that. She's like, what the fuck can I say? Sounding like fucking Archie Bunker. Like, settle down, oppressed white child. Sorry, you can't say a bunch of homophobic, ableist, racist shit.
He's like, I'm an evolved man. Mm-hmm. Mac, come on.
Mm-hmm. We learned that her father...
But you know his daughter says all that shit still.
The oldest, Wilder, oh my god, she's a little shit. I'm so glad that Matt called her on it.
She's basically Mac.
Yeah.
Like on the other end of the spectrum.
Yes, exactly. We learned that the stepmother who was like passed out in the first episode actually
was important.
Really stepped up when she got sick and after she died. And so much so that Dylan named one of his daughters after her. And he's not really sure where the father is. He ain't shit, apparently.
And flirting.
Yeah, I kept like as we were watching, as we were seeing these scenes play out with him and seeing how he's gotten better and he's like, I'm adopted now and I have kids and all this shit. I was wondering if they would go like the Back to the Future Part 2 route, where like because she doesn't like die or whatever, and she's changing the past or something, that then it like ruins his life that way. I just kept expecting her to ruin his life in various ways.
I just thought he was gonna die. I just thought something bad was going to happen to him because of this. It was just going to be really fucked up.
Like she's going to go in that restaurant and just murder.
Yes. Just like Terminator it up in that Chili's.
I forgot it was a Chili's.
It was baby back ribs. We'll do
it. And they were just like, look at these portions.
Yeah, she is such a pain in the ass. Little privileged child. So... Missy is pissed at adult Erin, because she missed an important meeting, and it turns out later it was with the realtor about selling their mother's house. And Erin gives her the address so that she can, yell at her in person.
I hate people like that realtor. I just wanted to say that.
He was just so... like, nobody really does that, though. Like, he didn't say one word. I was like, that's just weird for no reason. But that's the part of the show that I feel is kind of quirky. Like, to make him just weird for no reason.
Just to get so mad and storm out. It's like, what's your problem? Like, I'm the one selling my house. Like, I can't sell my house because of this. Like... You just go away.
He was so pissed that I thought it was something else. And it was set up weird because it was like, it looked like it was his desk and that she was the guest behind the desk. But then he left.
You left your own office.
Yeah. I was like,
he was so mad.
That's what I was like, this is so weird. It played so weird. So... She ends up getting, Pryoress ends up getting the address from that poor woman and getting her pedicure. And I was like, why did she, like, turn her face up at that purple nail polish like that?
Because it's not white.
Because it's not white?
Mm-hmm. Everything about
Are her nails white?
No.
Oh.
They weren't painted.
The white clothes, I know. But she does get Dylan's address from this woman. We talked about this. Max meets the girls. One of them's an asshole. He talks about adopting her. He has this whole plan.
I was like, you've been thinking about this.
This is like, you know how some people have like a, you know how some people have like a perfect murder in their head, or if I'm stuck on this is my plan in an emergency or zombie apocalypse types thing. This guy was like, if a girl shows up in need of a home and needs to be adopted, this is what I'm gonna do. He had this well planned out. He's like, we're gonna wait a couple of weeks, we're gonna say this happened, then we'll do this, then I'll register this, then we'll get you enrolled here in Buttonwood. I was like, what? Buttonwood?
He was so ready to just completely lie to his wife.
Yes, he was so
like
ready
more than he already had.
He was so ready to completely like ruin his family.
And that's the thing is like if she didn't kill his wife, then like his wife's memory has to be wiped, or otherwise his life is ruined.
Yeah.
Like what's his wife thinking now?
Yeah, exactly. So what is the deal with Mac's cancer then? Because there was, when he tells her about it, I thought there was an exchange that made it seem like she was asking how bad was it or how long it was. And his answer made me feel like what he was saying was she already has it now. That this isn't like something she will get. She has it now.
What?
The cancer.
Right.
Yeah, he like left it like very open ended. Like, so it did sound like like he said like a long time or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, but she had it for like
she already had.
She already had it.
Well,
so
technically, we all have cancer now. It just hasn't. They sit all in our system.
What?
I said technically, cancer is in all of our system. It just doesn't pop up unless it decides to pop up.
I'm way too high for whatever the fuck you're saying.
All diseases are in us.
You really sound like you sound like somebody who would vote for Trump when you say something like you sound like somebody who would take some fucking horse dewormer. I don't know what you're talking about, and I'm really uncomfortable. Stop.
You know how those diseases get activated? Vaccinations.
So, but wait. So, okay, the reason I asked is because then after that, he says something like later in the episode, he says something, I'm going to make sure you never get sick. So I was like, oh, is it something Is it something like when they discovered it, it was already too late. So now he's like, I'm just going to make sure you get a checkup like every month. Do you know what I mean? Like, so then it made me feel like, oh, there is something he could do. Like if this was detected earlier, it wouldn't have killed her. So I was just a bit confused because then now in this episode, he's like, we're going to do this. We're going to get you. But he never said anything about cancer. Like there was, you know what I mean? There was no more talk of, oh, and then we're going to figure out. So I was like, I'm so confused. I don't know what I'm supposed to think about in terms of her being ill. And then it didn't really feel like, other than like, I know I'm jumping ahead, but when she's crying on the back of the bike, it felt like that could be everything or just like one thing. Does that make sense? Like it felt like she could be mourning.
She's leaving her brother. It could be
all
she's
this
going
stuff.
Back to die.
Right, exactly. I was like, is she thinking about that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't sure if that was a part of it.
And,
because then like after that, it doesn't really feel like she. But then I guess the point is like she's hiding it from them, so
she just reverts back to herself. The character that she's been wearing the whole time.
Exactly. So it's like, God, is she thinking about this? Like, is there a plan? You know, because she's not showing it, so it just kind of makes me anxious, if that makes sense. You know, and again, I don't know what we're supposed to think about the cancer and how long and all that, because Dylan said like
Kaylee
several things.
20 minutes.
40 minutes now?
Yeah.
Wait, whoa. I heard two different things. I heard you say 20 minutes. I heard her say 40 minutes.
20 or 40?
20.
Did you say 40, Kaylee?
Yeah.
See? You see how miscommunication happens in this house? Did you hear that?
I heard porn. I don't know.
Porn minute.
I heard him say 20 minutes. She said 40. He said, yup. And I'm like, wait, what? Y'all about to burn something. Okay. So KJ decides she's going to go after Max. She used the internets to find out where the brother lives, while Erin snoops to get a look at her adult little sister. Missy meets Larry. This shit was hilarious. They don't know how to be fake affectionate.
Neither one of them are have
it was so awkward. It was like, have y'all never been...
You can tell, but neither one of them have ever been in a relationship.
But that's the thing is, like, she maybe hasn't, but, like, we know he's in a relationship.
Well, we know Erin has. Because she had the Radio Shack guy or whatever the fuck he was.
I guess. So it was just the awkwardness of the situation. But it was so unnecessarily awkward. Yeah.
He's like kissed her on the forehead.
It's like
what is this, Daryl and Carol?
But when KJ takes off with the bike and he goes outside, and then we were still inside the house with the sisters, and you just hear him outside going, "These fucking kids." And Missy's like, "What the fuck?"
She's putting it all because Missy was just at her house and she saw all these cops and stuff. She's like, "What the fuck?" And then she finds a bloody shirt.
Yes.
Like, you're hiding some shit.
I
wanted him to come back in and just act like nothing happened.
Yeah, right. He was over it though. So we learned that the tension between them is that Erin seems to be the type that just takes on all the load, right? Because this included
single
and I think because she had to, though.
I don't really think it was because she's single, because it seems like it was because she kind of brings it on later in the episode or the next episode that like she's always taking care of people.
Exactly, and I mean that was kind of not forced on her, but yes, kind of forced on her. It's like through no fault of her own.
She had to take care of her mother as
because
even
of the
when she was
language
little,
barrier.
because of the language thing. So it was just kind of grew from there.
So she in doing that, and that included taking care of their mother when she got sick, and it sounds like Missy didn't know that the mother was sick.
That's how I took it,
and how bad it was.
But I don't like the fact that Erin tells her, pretty much lies to her younger self, like putting Misty out there as a bad guy, and she didn't care, she didn't come, but it's because.
Anyway, I forgot what we were saying.
I was talking about the whole little Erin and big Erin.
Like the rift between them. But like, if she hadn't, you said it felt like she didn't know. But like, how can you then say things like she's like caught up in herself, and if she didn't know that the mother was sick?
Because
I don't think that.
No,
go ahead.
No, you got it. Go ahead.
I don't think that Erin was lying to younger self. I think she was lying to herself, like in the way that she's lying, like she made herself the victim, the way that Missy said it. Like she probably does legitimately feel that Missy is the way that she says she is, because she like that's what I liked about it, I guess, is that they created this view of the relationship between Missy and Erin as such that we believed it, right? Like when you listen to her say, "Oh yeah, well, we kind of don't have a great relationship anymore. We haven't been together," and then you actually meet Missy, and it's like, wait a minute, no, you think that Missy wasn't there, but actually it's because you pushed her away. And I don't know how she pushed her away. Like I don't think they were clear on exactly how that put there, but she pushed her out.
And so, and in
the way, like
pushing her away, that robbed her of that time with the mother, because she was the primary caregiver.
Right. And that's where I kind of felt like pushing it away was she's not telling
frames it as
No, I felt like the pushing it away was just not telling her the truth of what was going on with the mother. That's how I took it. Like she talks about, like, and we talked about like how she was taking care of her mother when she was a young age, and it's like Missy was living her life. She goes into the army. She becomes all this successful stuff.
Yeah.
While Erin just kept taking care of the mother, and nothing changed in that sense. So that's Missy's like, okay, you're just taking care of mom like you've always done, not telling her that she's sick.
Right. Okay, so there was an interesting
and
moment.
She framed it like doing you a favor.
Right.
There was an interesting moment when when they brought that up, when Larry was still pretending to be her boyfriend, and he said, I heard how hard she fought. And then you could see the way Missy looked at that. Like, now in context, that's got to be especially painful because we know Missy wasn't there for that.
Right.
Yeah.
You know how hard she fought. I didn't know how hard she was fighting until it was over.
So Larry shares with Tiffany this his family's almanac from for the farm, and he talks about how he used it to encrypt the information of when those foals in time happen, when and where, like the coordinates of it. And so they're going to use the one that's coming that night to, do their time travel stuff.
That was kind of weird. Like, how would you know when the future ones? I guess it's kind of the farmer's almanac, because that thing's always supposed to predict kind of the future. But
the weather, yeah. I mean, yeah. But I was gonna say, what part of I don't know what the fuck is going on? Don't you get? I don't know how he knows shit. Sure.
I guess if she can read this, she can say, okay, I'm in 1999. When's the next fold? I can just jump in that shit.
So when they,
sorry, Donnie, it just feels like the way you're talking about it is like sliders.
Yes. They're just going to random. I mean, 99 to who knows where the fuck they're going next.
Maybe the next one is the slide home.
Right.
The scene with KJ at Dylan's house, that was pretty funny, because she didn't know what the fuck kale chips was, and I was like, girl, you ain't missing nothing.
This woman just invites everybody in the house too. Like, who does this?
She's an affluent white woman who's probably liberal.
You're a stranger. Come in the house.
Yes.
You need to use the bathroom? Come on. I don't know you, but go ahead.
Also, these are white children. Will you stop?
But the latest woman just shows up. I've never seen you before.
She brought her. What did she bring her? She brought her gifts.
I don't know, some kale chips or something.
Some food. And she was like, it's gluten free and whatever the fuck else. I don't know what else she said, but something.
Yeah, she was like, do you think I'm a monster? She was speaking her language, okay?
Yeah.
So there's the whole escape from Chili's, and then she follows the girls back to the farm, and when that fucking...
Do you think the mother said, I want my baby back?
Oh my god. When that Mac came out of that silo, that was really cool.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh yeah. And
yeah. Like, how else would it get out, right? Like, when that happened, I was like, oh, duh. Of course it's just going to punch its way out.
This kind of reminded me of, I don't know if you guys, I don't think Nina has, but I don't know if you have, John, like Stargirl. This kind of reminded me of Stargirl.
Oh.
I'm sorry, what?
Stargirl.
What's that?
The only DC thing that's surviving on CW right now.
Oh, how many seasons has that been?
I think it's the third season that's just started.
Wow, okay. Alright, so the next episode, they get away, and almost immediately Larry is dead. And I was like, wait, how we get here? Like, already? When he starts to apologize and he tells them to run, and the thing comes through, and it's like a really nice version of their mech, and he reaches in his bag, I thought he was going to pull out some futuristic gun. He pulled out like a Glock 9 and shot it at this transformer.
Hey, look at me, I'm right here.
It was like, ping, 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 ping. And he got evaporated.
Pulverized. I was like, Jesus Christ. And the girls end up hiding in, they're at like a construction site, right?
Yeah, they're
kind of crash landed.
The factory or wherever. The one across, now I'm assuming this is across the street from Mac's house. because they called it the factory. So it's like the factory in the town. So I assumed Mac's house was across the street. So the whole time I'm waiting for them to go to Mac's house.
What's wrong with you?
I'm like, it's across the street.
Wait, I skipped when they landed. I was like, they should be dead.
Yes, that too.
Because
they just belly flopped.
That thing's head was so high up. Like, how many feet was that? And they just crashed.
That head seemed tiny for all of them, too. I would think they were all popping out of there like clowns in a freaking...
But I don't know. This is future tech. What do we know? But anyway, they end up hiding in one of the trailers, and the mech that killed Larry is scanning for life forms.
Trailer by trailer.
Trailer by trailer. And Erin gets in the mech and Pacific rims it. She was doing so well in the beginning that I was like, this is not going to end well.
And I just kept screaming, hit the red button. The one that he told you not to press. But I thought the red button was going to shoot missiles or something. Because I thought he said something about...
Well, no, she jokingly said, oh my God, it says I've armed the missiles.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah. But when she almost hit the red button the first time,
he said don't touch that.
Don't touch that. And I thought he said that's like kind of to activate it for war or whatever.
No, he just said, this is a war machine. This is a...
Right.
He was just reminding her.
I didn't know it was going to fucking explode.
He was just reminding her that she's in something very dangerous.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought
I agree. It made you think that it was going to shoot something, but... And maybe it did, but they were just in really close proximity.
Maybe.
Right?
But it seemed like she was ready to go. Like, she knew this was good to end.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a self-destruct button.
Oh.
That's what it seemed like. And she knew it.
They probably said self-destruct on it. We just didn't see it.
Somebody's listening. Somebody's like listening right now. And they're like, what, John, did you say? Did you say what I was getting ready to say?
That, like, in her the vision thing that she had in her eye, maybe she could see that what the buttons were.
I thought I was gonna say the people at home are like, you could see it. It was reflected in her eye. It said self-destruct. And they're just thinking we're idiots. But yeah, then adult Erin dies as well, and
old Erin.
Yeah, old Erin. I like how she randomly, when she was like agreeing to like do this time travel stuff, was like, and also I'm not okay with old Erin.
I was like the one thing she was like, I'm not gonna get new girl again.
That's true.
But just and this is like also like this is set in stone. Like this happened, so it's like now Erin now she's fucked up because she's like, I know when I die, like. At this age, like, and I did nothing with my life but take care of
But wait, is that what's happening?
Unless she changes, she would have to change it. Like, if she survives all this, she can. I would assume she could change it.
But like,
if they get back to 88 and
I don't
live
know.
their lives,
I don't even want to think about it. I don't care. That's what Westworld is for. That's what Westworld is for. I just want to enjoy this. I don't give a fuck.
That's one of the things. Like when I was watching this, and I was like. Seeing how adult Erin was reacting, like how so scared or whatever about like gotta protect these kids, and I was like, well, you know that younger you doesn't die because you're here.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't quite understand the rules yet of what they're doing,
right?
And I don't even care. They say it happens. They're like, yep. So far, there's none of that. You can't be in close proximity of yourself. I whatever the rules are, I'm just going with it.
This ain't Time Cop. Come on.
Yeah. Tiff ends up eavesdropping when Pryor is speaking with grandfather, who seems to be the man in charge. You recognize this actor because you're like, hey, oh shit, when you saw him.
Yes, that's Jason.
Yeah, it's Jason Mantzoukas. Yeah.
Oh, excuse the fuck out of me, white boys. I do not know who this man is. I don't know why. Every time I see him, I think of Big Mouth. Does he have anything to do with that?
He's a big part of Big Mouth.
Ha!
He's the big part.
Like, no, does the
He's
thing...
off the mouth.
Is the thing supposed to look like him? It is, right?
Yes.
Okay, then I don't feel bad.
He was in the Good Place. Remember?
That's right. That's the other place
He was the boyfriend of the girl.
Yes.
Whatever.
Janet, right?
Janet. Yes. Yeah. He also does that they have their own podcast where they watch random movies and then they podcast about them.
Him and who?
Paul Scheer.
Okay.
And there's another lady, I forgot her name.
Do I know Paul Scheer from Best Week Ever?
Yes.
See, I know things, white man.
Bald teeth. He's got a gap.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, bald.
Bald teeth.
Bald teeth. Get bald headed.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. Okay.
They were both on the lead together.
Yeah, Donnie, you watched that. Okay, so anyway, Tiffany eavesdropped on a conversation between the two of them. And we overall learned some stuff. Basically, it seemed like they used to do this together. Throughout this episode, I'm just going to say it now. That grandfather and Prioress were kind of out in the field together, and he got promoted.
Yes. To grandpa.
And he is telling her, he's accusing her of taking what's happening here. He knows that this is personal to her, but there's been some fucking up going on. And though he's not mad, he is disappointed.
Just like a grandfather.
Yes. When he leaves and he steps right in the guy.
I stepped right in the guy.
And then he demands total ablution. Everybody's getting brain wiped. So now when the pink sky comes in and they start holding hands and stuff and it's like, nice knowing you, I missed something. And I didn't ask you to rewind it, but I was confused as to why didn't they lose their memories?
They don't know. And the only thing I can think of is because they're out of time. So anybody that's from 99 at this point gets their memory wiped. But if you're out of time, your memory does not get wiped. That's how I took it.
Okay.
And that's how I'm taking all of this. The only thing that just makes sense...
That's fine with me.
Right, but the only thing that doesn't make sense is when the show starts out, the same pink sky. So I'm assuming now this pink sky is a sign of that evolution. They should have been wiped at that point.
No, because they left with the guys.
Okay.
They left with...
What'd you say?
They left with the two guys in the pod. They time traveled, remember? Because they got shot. Yeah.
They had that conversation between Larry and Tiffany, right? Where he kind of explains like how the memory shit works. Where like, yeah, you have like when the sky shit happens, that's when you're supposed to have your memory. Everybody's getting their memory wiped, but then that's when Tiffany's like, well, how come we didn't get our memory wiped? And he's like, I don't fucking know. Maybe you didn't get in the light. Like he seemed like he didn't really know why they wouldn't have gotten their memory wiped in 1988. Because like they weren't out of time then, unless they were, and we just don't know it.
Now, like Nina said, they escaped before it.
I was gonna say I don't know how. I don't know like how it works. Like how long does it take?
Right.
All I know is that they left that time. You know what I mean? So that was enough for me.
Right.
They got in that thing with the other two. Okay, so they're in 1999. Erin has gotten her first period. They have to shoplift some tampons because Matt thought the pads looked like diapers. And she wasn't wrong. And this wonderfully written, beautifully acted scene of young girls discussing getting their period and the how to use a tampon. And like this was so, everything about this was so dead on. Even to when she's like, are there instructions? And she's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, there are. There's a little paper inside.
With pictures.
It'll have pictures.
Like unfolded like 14 times.
Yes. So when she starts digging around in the box and she pulls out the paper, I'm like, there you go. There we go. This is all playing out exactly as it happened.
And then all the urban myths and stuff.
Right. She's like, it happened to my mom's cousin's
Don't
friend.
put it in wrong. It'll.
She lost her leg.
She was fine, you know. She just didn't have a leg. It was so fucking just like I quit. He's like, I don't think you can quit your period.
Max is like, I'll go get you a diaper. So now I was getting a little upset because I wasn't liking the way they were talking to Tiffany after this. Like, she was like saying ideas, I guess, and things that they should do, and like I felt like Matt kind of like cut her off and said something rude, and then KJ did it. And when Max said something like, you don't always have to talk, or we don't always need ideas, or something like that, like KJ laughed. I did not like that shit. I don't know where the fuck that came from. And so later, when she kind of called them on it, later, when you remember, like in the street, when she was like,
and she's like, you guys are children.
Yeah, right. You don't want to hear you don't want me talking, but you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Because at this point, they're just tired of all this timey-wimey of science and shit. They just want to know what they know. And
fuck this. I'm going to call the only other person in the world smart as me.
Yep.
Me.
So anyway, I didn't like it. It happened once. This is after the tampon scene for the first time, and I was just bringing it up now. But to say that I do like again later that she kind of calls them on it. So, so they end up at KJ's house in 1999 because she believes that her parents, it's 4th of July weekend, they are always out of town on their boat. And Mac was like, of course. She's like, we do this every 4th of July. She's like, of course you do. So when they go, it turns out people are there. They're having a party. So at first, I was trying to do the math, and I was like, oh my God, is KJ like having a party while her parents
That's
are
what I
out?
thought. But I was like, wait, she's 23.
Right. So I was like, oh, this would be like a college party maybe. But it was her family's party. And I like when the girls decide that they're going to go in and get some food. First is Tiffany and Mac. And Mac goes across the grass, but Tiffany goes up the driveway. She's like, Mac, sidewalk.
Then fucking Aaron runs up, and she wants to go across the grass.
Well, when Aaron looks at her, she goes, I'm sorry. I thought she was apologizing for them.
Being there? Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry this is happening to you. I know it sucks. Like, I just
No,
watched
I'm
my
sorry,
older
I'm
self
hungry.
die. My mother's dead. My sister hates me. I'm so sorry. This is now your turn. She was like, nope, I'm sorry. I'm going to go in there and get some shrimp cocktail.
I know, you rich. You got some good food up there.
Oh, man.
I love how Tiffany calls out, like, I'm the only black person.
She said typical.
yeah, no black people, big surprise.
Different strokes.
Yeah, she goes different strokes. Tiffany takes different strokes. So you in the coat room scene, Donnie asked me, is like, how did you ask me? You're like, have you ever been to parties where
they do this?
Yeah, I was like, yeah. We've been to parties where people do this. We've had parties where people do this. People used to put their coats in the red room in our old house.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
See, thank you. Like, what else? What the fuck? You think we got like a fancy coat closet?
I just remember growing up and kind of being in charge of this as a kid. Like, whenever my mom would have company, I'd be in charge of taking people's coats and put them in the coat room.
Yeah.
When I would be at my grandparents' house and they have a party, I'd be in charge. Like, it was the kids that were in charge of putting the coats in the coat room. It was like no different than going to a fancy restaurant and having it, or fancy place, and
pick
hey,
the pockets.
Coat check-in. But you had to put all the. Then you'd have to go retrieve the coats when people leave. Like, which coat was yours? Like, you were the fucking coat check-in person as a kid.
Child labor. The 80s was wild.
And I was, and it made me think. I was like, shit. Do like people still do this? Like, or was it just like just a time that we did this.
No, I do think that people. I'm trying to think. No, I think that. Cause we had a foyer closet. We just had our shit in there.
I just feel like everybody just keeps their shit with them now.
And that they don't stay long.
I think my family was just like too poor to have these kinds of parties. Nobody was wearing their coats. And
I'm like, I don't know. Wait,
worrying about taking them off and shit.
I'm cracking up because you attribute that to like poor behavior. Like,
I do. Like, I think like it was just like, I don't know. We just weren't. Just weren't like, oh, everybody take off your coats and lay them over here. It's like, I don't know. I thought there was like a tier. It's a tier list. It's a caste system.
So a couple of things happen. Adult, what?
I was just gonna say, I like how Mac just keeps getting coats. Like, she took Dylan's daughter's jacket.
Yeah.
And then she puts on another layer here.
Yes. I like how they took all that cash. I like Aaron was like, "How about we just take half?" She's like, "What is wrong with you?
You're stealing.
We're stealing. Do it. And there was a part of me was like, "Well, there is an amount that goes from a misdemeanor to a felony, so let's not."
I mean, you're out of time,
right? You might
what does it matter?
You gotta eat, you know.
If you're gonna steal from some people at any time, why not be when you're, time traveling?
When we were watching this, I can't remember at what point in the house scene here, this party scene, Bonnie was like, "Is KJ gay?" And I was like, and then I can't remember like what I thought you said, or maybe I did think, but I asked you to repeat yourself because I wanted to be sure.
Because the first,
and I was like, I wasn't sure if I wanted to spoil you. Like, I was like, if it doesn't happen in this next scene, I'm gonna feel like an asshole. And I was like, yeah.
Because when she's in the episode before this, when she's at Mac's brother's house talking to the wife, she goes, "She's not my girlfriend." Like, she went kind of defending herself, and I was like, that was the first clue for me. And then it was this episode when she sees, KJ sees her older self talking to her mother, and her mother trying to hook her up with this guy. It's like, she's gay. Like, it just played off like, no, this isn't my type. And those two things are, and Nina's like, you didn't pick it up from the first episode? I'm like, what?
I feel like they've been telegraphing it like the whole time.
The whole time. You didn't
and like,
get
especially in the interactions between KJ and Matt.
Yeah,
like,
now
she totally.
Right, now I see that she totally has a crush on him.
Yeah, she absolutely is in love with Mac.
And then it's funny that she punches Mac in this episode.
Yeah. So I love this conversation between KJ and her future girlfriend. This was so great because it's like
they're saying things like you're realizing things about yourself that you don't.
Right, and I'm like, but wait, what if this is it though?
Like, this is what makes her want to.
Yeah.
The
way this girl described it, and looking around this room, which is your room, so obviously it's going to be somewhat appealing to you, right? Even if your taste changed over the 10 years or whatever it's been, but you get what I'm saying, right? And you're hearing her say these things and telling you these things about yourself, and it's so far removed from what you feared you were going to end up doing, that you were going to cave to your mom.
At this age, you don't even watch movies.
So, exactly. So I just feel like, oh man, I could see this being her moment. And then she asked the girl, right? Like, when did you know? Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She said like her senior year or something like that.
But then her going to the bathroom and hearing that whole conversation of her older self talking to this girl, and then they get into the kissing and stuff like that. And it was just, she acted really well here because you could tell that I have these feelings, and now I know those feelings are true. Like,
right.
But in the 80s, because like even being like, there's still a lot of homophobic people. People just like, hey, that's. I don't know how the Jewish religion is against like gay people, but a lot of religions stuff are like, no, you can't. Like it's a sin and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see that aspect of it. Like I had these feelings, but I just thought it was a thing that was just going to pass, type of thing.
I mean, and it is still a secret, right?
Yes, okay. That's how it came off there. Because even when she's upstairs with her mother, she goes, "I have to go talk to my friend."
Okay, go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, and that's kind of like the stuff we were talking about earlier. Like the whole series, like the fact that they're able to have these 12-year-old girls. Like that's like when you start, like you're going through puberty, like your period, all that stuff, and it's like the whole show is kind of like an allegory for coming of age, right? And so like the idea that you see who you are 10 years from now, and you're like, wow, like I changed so much,
right?
Like I don't even watch movies now, and it's like, yeah, like 10 years, and it's not only 10 years, but it's like the most formative 10 years. Like it's the part where you go from like being a child into like your early 20s. Like it's like it's a very important time in your life, and I feel like we're kind of seeing like that's kind of the whole series is like allowing these girls to see like adulthood and who they're going to become, and it's like it's the same thing like when you are 12, when you are 13, like you start to see that like what you think you're going to become. Like you see, like it's kind of like they're actually getting to see it. Through this sci-fi, story, they're actually getting to see the things that typically you just kind of visualize. And it's like a turmoil time in your life.
I wonder if what Tiffany is going to be like.
We found out what Tiffany, because when Tiffany looked up herself,
she has an institute.
That's right.
Right? In her name. I'm surprised she didn't look like...
But she didn't, like, she found out she had an institute, but she didn't, like, look up herself, right?
Right.
So she doesn't even know if she's still alive.
Right.
Just that she had an institute named after her.
And she calls... the woman on the answer machine says the name, doesn't she?
Yes, here, but I wonder if, like, whatever happens in 99 gets her
killed.
Oh,
okay, I'm sorry.
And now she has an institute named after her.
The time traveler aspect.
But I don't think she says her name on the answer machine, if that's what you're asking, Nina.
You know what it is? It's the closed caption. The closed caption said adult Tiff, and it said her last name. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because she was just like, you know what to do.
Yeah.
And then and she just started naming off shit that only she would know.
Yeah. Okay, I'm curious to see where they go with this.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen there.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Sorry, I just wanted to, because it kind of gets into, the idea of what we've seen with Aaron, right? It's like, you think you're going to be one way, and then you meet your adult self, and it's like, you're completely different. And so I wonder what it's going to be like when Tiffany meets her adult self, and she's got to be disappointed. Like, I would imagine there's going to be some level of disappointment, because that just feels like the idea... and she has, I
don't know,
very high.
I don't think because KJ, I don't think was disappointed. I think she just kind of
not until the end when she was like, "What the fuck?"
But I still don't think she was disappointed in that. I just think it kind of answered to her.
Yeah, she's scared,
right?
Yeah. So, but
I guess
I just have to say,
I guess is what I mean. Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I guess I would feel a kind of way about them having these two, girls of color have these kind of depressing existences in 2019, and then in 1999 they give KJ didn't seem bad to me, other than still apparently being in the closet with her mother at the very least, right?
Right.
Or at least in front of people, because maybe the mother does know, but they were talking in front of that guy that she was trying to, her mother could be in some sort of form of denial or whatever. But I don't know. And then to like have Tiffany be also like have her life be all messed up. I don't know how to feel about it.
I don't know if her life will be messed up. I just expect it to not be what she thinks it's going to be.
Disappointed in it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be bad. It might be bad. She might think it's bad. Because she's like, why are you not, like the same way that, Aaron was like, why are you not in Congress? That kind of thing. Is like, I think that it might be that Tiffany isn't disappointed. She might be like, yeah, you're exactly what I thought you would be. But it just feels like that's what the show is leaning toward, is that you don't know what you're going to be when you age.
When when they storm out and she kind of blows up, she takes out her kind of fear, it turns into anger, and she punches Mac in the face. Tiffany loses it. She's like, you're a bunch of children. And storms off to
the phone booth.
Phone booth, yeah. To find her future self.
It would have been funny if they tried to find a phone booth in 2019.
Yeah, well, she almost did. She's like, we need a phone book, remember?
Yeah, we don't have those anymore.
She's like, yeah, we don't need that.
Like, KJ goes upstairs and sees their future girlfriend, like, she goes, when she talks to her future self, she's like, yeah, I'm just playing around at AOL.
An AOL? I was like, wait a minute, did we ever call it that?
Yes!
No, we never said...
I always called AOL. I never called it anything else but AOL. You did not pronounce it.
No. She said, what are you doing? And she said, just an AOL. What is that? We never said that. Just an AOL. What is that? An email? An IM?
Well, back then, I think it was AOL was it.
The internet.
Right. Like, AOL was
wait. Where are we
social
again? 1999.
1999, I think it was all AOL. Like, MySpace hadn't even...
Okay,
really
yeah, I get that. I'm just saying no one...
She was sitting there like, I gotta go. I only got 30 hours left on my disc.
She's in the chat room.
She just said, she says, just an... She goes just an AOL. Like, I did an AOL. And I'm like, what was that?
I didn't catch that because I never fucking heard that before.
I just heard AOL.
Yeah, it felt very, very
I just
awkward.
took it as she was in there downloading some illegal movies or something. But
she's an artist. She would not do that.
She would upload.
Right.
She downloaded illegal programs to make movies.
Yeah, so
she's downloading porn.
That's the episode they got it now. Okay, makes sense.
Shut up. I'm gonna check for feedback really quickly. I forgot that I can do that here. Ha 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 ha. So I don't think we have anything. Oh, but you know what? I do have this other feedback. I felt bad because this came in after we recorded, and I flagged it so that I wouldn't forget. So Kimberly left this after watching episode 2. She says, hello everyone. I don't know why I'm laughing already. So Erin is 40-something and alone, possibly depressed, and trying to... That's why I love reading Kimberly's feedback, because she reminds me of shit. Yeah, I feel like they kind of... I wasn't sure what they were going for here when she was like, did you take your meds?
Yes.
Are you taking your meds, right? And we know that she does like those affirmations and stuff. And when she saw her younger self for the first time and she went in the bedroom, she's like, oh, it's a hallucination, it's a hallucination. I took it as her, like, I took it for comedic effect. But then it got me to wondering, like, as the episodes have gone on, is there something else? Like, what is she taking meds for? Did she mention what she was taking before?
No. But it almost, this came off to me like she was
like
taking
her sister
for
was
psychotics.
It made me feel like her sister was worried about her.
Yes. Like,
yeah,
you're
like,
off your meds stuff.
Right.
But like, I think it's like, it seemed maybe depression or maybe anxiety. I don't know if like, because it could also be like bipolar. But
yeah.
It didn't feel that way to me that it was bipolar. It didn't feel that. It felt like depression or something.
Okay. So possibly depressed and trying to cope with being confronted with little girl her, who is clearly looking down on her. I loved her moment to let young Erin know that if she truly is nothing, that nothingness started with her. Young Erin can't change the future for herself if she doesn't know what started her down that path. I don't know, it's probably all this fucking time travel murder and shit that she's been saying.
I don't know, I still think it's like she chooses it.
She what?
She chooses it.
I think that.
Oh, she's taking pills to forget or something.
No, I think that they like because whenever Larry started explaining more about how you get your memory wiped by the shit, that furthered my idea that at some point these girls are going to intentionally allow themselves to be like memory wiped, so that they can
So what I'm saying is,
timeline.
so you're saying though that the pills that she takes helps facilitate that, or that it's that because she chose the memory wipe, these are the side effects of that.
I think she chose to forget her friends or whatever and all that, and the life that they gave her because that's what they do, right? Like they have
this
to
is
like
the life she was always going to choose.
Well, like they have to, like when you wipe your memory, like they have to, like the way they did with Juniper, right? Like they had to give her something that was now her life, right? Like they have to replace your memories with like a life that you now have to live, right? And so maybe like
wait, is that what they did though?
That's what I thought.
I mean,
I thought.
It depends on how long she knew Larry for.
Right. Bless you, Donnie. God, get it together. But that's what I'm saying. Like, how do they even... That's a lot, but okay, I guess.
I mean, I guess maybe I'm being informed, like, maybe with, like, the way Men in Black works.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I think so. She was always with Larry for years and years and years.
Right. So how much brain
memories.
wiping... That's what I'm saying. Like, how much do they know what to do? Like, how much do they know to wipe? How does that work? I don't know enough about how it works to know how much control they have over it beyond, like, you go up to them and you're like, this never happened. Like, or is it like, we have to take all this stuff out and then
you just have a
put things in to
you
make you think shit. You did these things, right? Like, I don't know.
I feel like it's probably like they take out everything that is like time travel related or any of the stuff that you shouldn't know, right? And so for Erin, it would be taking out this entire day where she met friends, where she didn't have any friends before, and then she made these friends on this paper route, and then they're like, well, you don't have these friends anymore.
But then what does that have to do with the meds? Because what I'm saying is, then you're
saying like she's depressed. Like, I don't think it doesn't directly lead to the meds. I don't think that getting her brain wiped or whatever directly led to her being on medication.
But what he's saying is older Erin did experience all this, but her memory was wiped.
Yeah. Her memory was wiped like the day, like after all the events of the show happened, then she's going to have her memory wiped where she doesn't know. And that's what I'm saying. So, like, and then she goes back to her lonely life with her mom, and she doesn't have any friends.
Okay.
And then she grows up as that lonely person that she is, and at the age of 43.
Just depressed because of that.
Yeah, and she just is depressed, and she's on medication for that reason. That's what it seems like.
So, she says, "I'm still not feeling Matt." So that's like 2 episodes in. Yeah, poor little white girl growing up in America. Notice how hearing about her brother's change in fortune just brought out the arrogance in her entitled Karen-ness. Okay. I mean, you're not wrong. She did do that. Those poor girls having to come to grips with the possibility that their parents might be dead and the reality that the lives they were living have ended. Well, Adina Porter's character is clearly going to be a problem. You were not wrong. She's giving me Terminator vibes.
Yeah, like the T-1000 or whatever.
Yeah, so she's just running.
She popped up that car at the farm with the gun in her hand.
I was like, what the fuck, lady? I was surprised they made it through, to be honest. I really thought something terrible was going to happen. And then I just was like, what can that little gun do? But again, it's future tech, so I don't know. I really thought something bad, terrible was going to happen. But, so, yeah, anyway, we decided for this, right? We're doing 2 episodes next again, right?
And then we'll do one for the finale.
And then one for the finale, which is the way I like it. I love it. I like doing it that way. Okay, so that's cool. So that means we can watch the next 2 now. See? He was like, he wanted to watch them before. And I was like, no, Donnie, we... No.
Except
you were
you
confused that we
hooked on
hadn't
P-Valley.
watched these. Yeah. He's like, why haven't we watched these yet?
Except you got me all hooked on P-Valley.
Well, yeah, and also you sat here with me while I got caught up on The Walking Dead.
Yep.
So now you're caught up on The Walking Dead.
Walking Dead's good.
Yeah, that was really good. I was quite surprised. And then...
I ain't getting hooked.
Ain't nobody coming back to The Walking Dead. I get it, but that shit was good.
I just wanted to be caught up for whatever this Rick and Michonne and stuff is. So, yeah. But then also, Sandman,
Yep.
which we're covering. And then, and like you mentioned, P-Valley. So, but anyway... remember, I didn't mention it at the start of the podcast, but do remember that the website is up and running, and you can find the schedule there off the homepage to let you know when podcasts are dropping for both the free show and premium. Remember that premium just gets early access, and that you should be sending any and all feedback to feedback@projectfandom.com. Thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you next time.